Welcome back to the Movie Wheel Marathon. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mac.
And we are finishing up our John Wick marathon with.
Mhm.
Sorry, that's not a comment on the movie. From
Wow.
the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Hate the title.
Is
God,
that the title?
that's the
I
official
just thought it
title
was
of this movie.
Ballerina. Ugh.
No. From the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Hate that title. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. Directed by Len Wiseman. Came out June 6, 2025. Starring, of course, Ana de Armas, Keanu Reeves for like 3 minutes. Lance Reddick for like 10 seconds. Catalina Sandino, Norman Reedus, Angelica Houston for a second there, yeah. Well, she's in a little bit more. I should be fair about that. Ian McShane, Gabriel Byron, and yeah, those are like the big ones. Yeah, we're back in the world of John Wick. I lost. I bet money that ballerina that John Wick kind of nods at on the stage was going to be Ana de Armas, just refilmed. I really thought I had it right for a second with her spinning sequence. It
Yeah.
looked so similar. I get they're all doing the same thing, but I was wrong.
I think it's supposed to be a direct nod. Obviously, it's supposed to be a direct nod to that moment.
Of course.
But like, I think
really
the
thought
goal is to sort of make her like one of the army
For
and then
sure.
distinguish her from
for
it,
sure,
right?
for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, Ballerina. I'm just gonna call it Ballerina because this title is stupid. I think it's a quick little soapbox thing. I think it's so weird in this world of digital media, phones, TikTok, YouTube ads, that audiences are so stupid that you have to include the name of the universe that the movie is in order to hope that they'll go to see it. So they did the same thing with the Knives Out movies. Like, I hate that. Ballerina is fine. That's a hardcore title, and people would talk, after it was out for the first week that John Wick is in it, and people would go see it. Like, just, but no, you've made a movie that's called From the Universe of John Wick, Ballerina. That is so
See,
dumb.
I understand the franchise nod in the title because a part of me enjoys the sort of tidiness of like having the series title and then the book title,
Mhm.
But this title is dumb.
Yeah.
Like you don't need
If
to
you want
write
it,
a sentence in to explain what's happening.
yeah.
In my mind, I would title this Ballerina and then like
House of
a John Wick
Rumaruska or
story.
whatever. Oh yeah, sure,
Or
sure.
yeah, that's actually way better. I like that way better.
Yeah. What's the
So
exact house name? Is it Ruma Ruska or Ruska Ruma?
I haven't Ruska Roma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ballerina, Ruska Roma. Like,
Like
it's
you could
got a
just say the
nod
ballerina of Ruska
of
Roma
Ruska Roma.
and
Like, it's right there.
boom.
It's right
Like,
there.
yeah, the people who you're advertising to, the people who like John Wick will recognize that name.
Yeah.
Or if they don't, you put him somewhere in the trailer,
Sure.
and that's all
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
really need to
That's all you
do.
need. That's all you need.
And
Instead, you've got this
you're good.
stupid ass title, which is just, I find it insulting. Like, for the ballerina, for Eve, for Ana de Armas, it's so stupid.
But let's be honest for a second.
Yeah.
What is the average? I
I
mean,
know.
no offense, guys,
No, full
but like the
offense.
average intelligence
Full
of the
offense.
audience
Yeah.
that watches this
I
film and really
understand.
enjoys it.
I understand. Yeah.
Like what are the
But
odds that
see,
they're familiar with how a book series would be
I
formed without having the
sure.
same title on every single one?
Sure, which I get, but also at the same time, it shows a weird lack of intelligence from whatever the team is that comes up with titles, because no one
Sure.
is gonna call it that. They're gonna
Hmm.
call it Ballerina. So it's
And to
just,
be fair, I don't think the goal was to make
I
people
know,
call it that.
but it's
I
just,
think the goal is just to get the name on it.
I guess, but I feel like in the conversations regarding movies, especially back when this came out, if you were talking about Ballerina, there wasn't confusion. It's like, oh, do you mean the ballerina with Godzilla? It's like, no, like people know what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, it does it really matter? No, but it. I thought it was annoying, so I wanted to shit talk
It
that for a
does
second.
it does seem to be a flag of sort of like how execs can be in
Yeah,
charge of the artistic side of things.
it.
Like a title is supposed to be a perfect artistic representation of what you're about to get.
Mhm.
And to have it labeled as like money title, now
Yeah.
selling, come get your
It
blank,
it
buy
it
one, get one.
it says to me, whoever did it is like a late Gen X, early millennial. It strikes me as someone who's old.
Mhm.
Because like from the universe of John Wick, it's like, bitch, they're from the same house. You know, like
Yeah.
we're not exploring a different area. Like the Continental show is not called from the universe of John Wick, the Continental.
Good point.
You know,
Good
like
point.
you threw in universe there because everyone's into the multiverse thing right now. But like you don't need to do that. This it's sorry. I'll go on because it's so
We should
weirdly irksome.
maybe.
We should move on. We should move on.
It's dumb. It's
Yes,
dumb.
it's
But we
dumb.
also don't need to talk about it for
No,
super long.
we don't. We don't. Real quick general thoughts. First time watching,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
always that little footnote.
Everything with a caveat,
Everything with a caveat. Also, end of marathon burnout. Just a tad. Just a tad.
Fair.
Because I've had
Okay.
I've had a month of you making it clear how, I guess, superfluous these violent life endings are. So I had a little bit of that in the
Yeah.
back of my mind. However,
Okay.
I do
Hmm.
think in perfect John Wick fashion, we got some really cool new original ways to kill people in this movie, and I was thoroughly
Yeah.
entertained.
There are some genuinely creative
Mm,
and different fight scenes
mm-hmm,
in this one.
mm-hmm,
I would defend this one's kind of over the top action to a degree. I mean, it's
mm-hmm,
still in that genre that I'm not crazy about, but it does things. This is a bit of me getting ahead of the game a bit, but it actually has a connected story that I care about. Like there is a
mm-hmm,
clear goal that I understand and I can empathize with in this one. So the action to me feels like, yeah, this is you doing your thing that you need to do to get the job done, and rather than just sort of like, why are we killing these guys again?
mm-hmm.
There's a very different approach that I take to the action when I feel like it is justified. And that might be me being a little, I don't know, needy maybe as an audience member, but I like to have a reason for what happens. And this one provides enough of a reason for me to, I think, kind of enjoy the ridiculousness of a lot of what goes on.
I get that. I do. I do think it takes a little bit to get to the point where it feels like we have a drive because
Mm,
she comes across the guys with the X's on their wrist by accident. Like well, one of them attacks her.
mhm,
So like she
mhm,
does become essentially a Black Widow, I
mhm,
guess in preparation for that, she says, but she's not actively
mhm,
looking for them. And she also is not made aware, I don't think, that that's a marker of a house or a tribe or a cult until she sees a second one. So
mhm,
she it almost seems like the whole something bad, something awful, something traumatic happened to me. I'm going to pursue the life in which I'm prepared so that something like that can never happen again, instead of
mhm,
I'm preparing to find the person who did this. Like in the training montage, which I do think is really really good because we haven't seen something like that in
mhm,
this universe yet. The how do you become a John Wick, if you will, because that's what we're
mhm.
doing basically. um
Kikimora.
yeah, Kikimora. Like we've never seen that, but in that pursuit we don't have the weird library scenes of learning every symbol, every house name, every
Mhm,
like we're not shaking people down in the streets like, did you kill my Uncle Ben? Like we don't have that montage from Amazing Spider-Man. Like so it's I was the movie is weirdly paced in that every time I thought to myself, okay, when are we gonna get this? That would happen like right after. Like after she finishes protecting the first girl, like in the
mhm.
whatever club.
Club.
Yeah, the club. And then her when she walks out of the 2 months later thing, like she's now a ballerina, a protective person or whatever. And she's driving away. I was like, okay, I feel like the story's kind of aimless. When are we gonna get the plot? And then she gets hit by the car. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I should have just stopped talking. Um,
I
so
mean, I think that's well, okay. Just because we seem to be getting like right into it, I want to go ahead and
yeah,
point out some things at the
yeah,
beginning
yeah.
that I kind of liked. The young actress does a great job
Mm-hmm.
with the part. I don't know if it's just because they had her stand there stoically so often or what, but like it read really well with her. And kid actors can be tough, so I noted that. Um, the Kikimora thing is interesting. I thought they were gonna do like a thing where it's like a specific person is the Kikimora in the same way that John Wick is like the Baba Yaga.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it ends up being more of a title where like the Kikimora are the ballerinas or like the trained bodyguards kind of
Mm-hmm.
the Ruska Roma. Um, and I liked that foil quite a bit. I liked
Yeah.
that she was being trained to protect rather than to kill. And like obviously killing is a part of that in the
Mm-hmm.
world that she is in. But
The
her job is
distinction
to keep
being
somebody
made is
alive.
very interesting.
Her job is to keep somebody alive versus his job being kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Or, at least that's what we see him doing for the most part. And I thought that was really cool. And I was kind of disappointed that she seemed to just be a regular hitman when
Mm-hmm.
we got that 2 months later,
Mm-hmm.
like jump.
Yeah.
And she clearly wasn't protecting anybody. She just went in to get a contract.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know. I guess there's no reason why she couldn't both be a hitman and a bodyguard for hire. But to me, I was looking forward to seeing the protective part a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more. And we just kind of
See,
like
I
we show
thought,
one scene of her being protective,
yeah.
and then she kind of does some protecting later, but
Mm-hmm.
really it's not as present as it could have been
Mm-hmm.
in the movie.
There are two versions of this movie I thought we were gonna get. Um, like the first quarter in, because when John Wick's ticket is torn and he is
Mm-hmm.
transported to the Continental in the Middle East, wherever it is, with Halle Berry, I thought maybe she was gonna be the protection because he's injured, he's on the
Mm,
run.
mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, here we
Mm-hmm.
go. She's gonna be the Kikimora, and that didn't happen. Okay, so then I was like, towards the end, it was way too late, but it made me think a slightly cooler version of this movie could have been John Wick is the villain the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
just because he's in the way of our mission.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, with the title, John Wick is not in this movie, like at all. He's he's
And
not.
the parts that he is in, mostly he shouldn't be there, is my
Yeah,
opinion.
and I, it's weird. It's also I'm a little confused because
Mm-hmm.
the,
Mm-hmm.
him
Timeline wise, doesn't
timeline
make
wasn't,
sense.
yeah,
Doesn't
because
make
he
sense.
he would be post not death, where he's like on the run from the table and
Yeah.
everybody. So not
But I'm not
only,
sure that he would still be like that 2 months after that conversation.
yeah, not only do I don't think he could be moving around, but I need to double check if the director is still alive during that, because doesn't she
Mm-hmm.
die in the third one? I
Well,
thought
and
they.
there's also the question of the Continental. She checks into the Continental at the very end. It looks the exact same. Is this the version that, like, before it gets blown up or
Oh
after it gets blown
shit!
up?
Yeah, it must be. Well, see, they said that this takes place between John Wick 3 and 4, which is why
Okay.
I am confused because I still don't think John Wick should be so easily called up by the director because
He's in the middle of trying not to die.
he's hiding in the sewers with King. He's not a part of any family or tribe, and she got in trouble for helping him, and now anyone gets in trouble
Mm-hmm.
for talking. He's like, I need to double check the timeline if this is somehow,
Mm-hmm.
because even if it's not before he dies, if it's during 3 and not between 3 and 4,
Mm-hmm.
he's excommunicado. Like, you can't just
Yeah.
be like, hey, don't go kill him. So like I don't
And
I
even worse than excommunicado, he's like he tore his ticket. So
yeah.
not only is he not doing business in big under the table, he's
Uh-huh.
especially not doing business
Yeah.
with the Ruska
And
Roma.
I wasn't paying enough attention. I did not catch whether or not he had already cut his finger off or not. I should have been paying
Oh, I didn't
attention
pay
for
attention to
that.
that at all. Yeah.
Because maybe it took him that fucking long to. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So I do need to double check that. But I was questioning that a lot because of the whole 2 month
Mm-hmm.
jump. I really thought that John Wick and Ballerina together were going to be the time it takes to get him from New York to the Halle Berry Continental. Because like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
taking a boat, it's not an 8-hour flight. there's days.
Mhm.
That's enough time to fill in a movie, like. But no. So.
Yeah, this they wanted to tell a different story using the world of John Wick, and then they put John Wick in it in a way that I don't think he needs to be there. Like the conversation he has with her about like, getting out or getting the job or whatever, that works really well. It points out the foils in their characters. She wants to be a part of this world, and she is a protector, kind
Mm-hmm.
of. And he is a killer and he wants out. And there's like a young and old thing going on. So like that conversation is really interesting with the tensions between their characters.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't need to be there in the climax of the story. I think he
No.
kind of it just raises questions,
Yeah. And
like having him present for a couple of minutes, and that's all you really need. That's all you needed of him. He doesn't need to be there later. Pretty,
and him
yeah, I'm
taking
gonna
out
hold to that.
the yeah, him taking out the guy with the flamethrower, I think kind of undercuts a lot because then the movie doesn't work without him, unfortunately, because like she doesn't
Mhm.
win
Mhm.
without John Wick, which I don't love that. Um,
Well, there's a lot about the end that's well, okay. There's nothing about the end that isn't John Wick unbelievable, but there's a lot about the end that is just kind of unbelievable, which we can talk about when we
yeah,
get to the
going
end.
going
But
back to the beginning, I guess for a second.
mhm.
The opening action sequence is pretty dope. Dad man kicking some ass was
Mhm.
pretty cool. Um,
Mhm.
Ian McShane showing up as I don't know, new weird surrogate uncle. Cool. They're definitely setting up that her parents are of some sort of significance that they do not readdress in this movie.
Particularly
So
her mom. Yeah.
yes, I'm assuming because it's a cult, everyone is that guy's kid. Maybe you
I
know.
was kind of expecting a family connection as well. We didn't
Yeah.
get one though. At
No,
least
we
not one
didn't.
directly.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
but I'm thinking maybe that's what it is. Um, but I don't know for sure. Uh, so yeah, that's interesting. Let's see. What's specifically? I guess again to do a quick little not sum up, but like I think there's a lot of good here. There's some questionable stuff here. Nothing stood out as awful. I just think
Agreed.
there are some points because of the way it's paced. It's paced a little different than the other John Wicks in that
It takes time to develop the character first,
a little
and then
bit,
it puts her in the situation.
and
Mhm.
we keep kind of it kind of feels like the good version of a car trying to start, in that like it
Oh,
keeps.
really?
Well, because I feel like it keeps dropping these really, really cool things that in other John Wick movies last a lot longer. And here they go away almost immediately. Like, you've got Daryl Dixon in this movie. You don't do anything with him. That could have been
Mm,
anybody. I was like, oh wow, like
mhm,
he's gonna be the companion for this film. We're gonna get all this info about the cult, and we're gonna get background and exposition, and she's gonna have to protect him, Kikimura style.
mhm,
No, we don't get that, And then
mhm,
the it was interesting to subvert your expectations, where we get the whole like I want to go hunting code word sequence where
mhm,
it's cut off, but again it feels like
mhm.
the things that the John Wick movies do are being interrupted. Not again,
Interesting.
not a bad way in that one because that was good, but then like, that's a really cool guy, and
Mhm.
but like we don't do anything with
I
him
do think
after
the Frank joke lands a little flat, but that's fine.
the Frank joke.
His name is Frank. His name is Frank. He says to be frank, and his name is Frank.
Oh, I did not. I totally missed
Yeah,
that.
it's 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 funny as I tell it back, just because of how dumb it is. But when I watch it, I was like, "Why is he saying that?" And then
That's
I
pretty good.
saw I thought it was gonna be like a code or something, and then I just looked down at his name tag, and it just says Frank, and I'm like,
Totally missed it.
Am I supposed to be laughing?
Yeah.
Like what?"
That's good.
um, but no, I like the interruption in that scene. I like the grenades are the thing that I want to
The
talk about when it comes
grenade
to like
fight
fight
sequence.
choreography.
Same.
Yes.
I was jaw dropped several times. That was
Like the
amazing.
way that she was like, I need ammo. Where is the ammo? And
Uh huh.
it's like the only thing she can find that'll actually
Mm-hmm.
fire is grenades, and then she's very
Mm-hmm.
creatively using them.
Ugh.
I do wonder how safe and like kind of
Shh.
competent she would be after
Shh.
firing that many, but
Shh. John Wick fell off of a building and lived, okay? We can allow
yeah,
her to survive in the
yeah. After
proximity of
getting
bombs.
shot
Yeah.
and all that,
Yeah.
yeah. So she, John Wick logic, she absolutely survives all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
looks really, really cool. And
Yes,
I
it
don't feel like it's
does.
like at no point of it am I questioning sort of like the validity of her strategy. She makes
Mm-hmm.
it work. So it's really cool. It also is interesting to watch her hesitate to kill so many times, and
Mm-hmm.
then she gets to a certain point where she's like, "Time to die," and so
Yeah.
she just explodes all these people in this
Mm-hmm.
shop,
Yeah.
and it's very I thought it worked quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
liked it a
love.
lot, and the way that they play with the setting as well, where she's
Yes.
like kind of like in a trapped room, and you feel her going in, running into corners
Mm-hmm.
constantly. Like
And the
that was
bombs are
really well
making
shot.
ways out. Like I love the
Yes.
metal door
Hmm.
that she puts the guy behind and then closes it on the other side to protect her from the other explosion. And the first explosion has made a hole through the door, and then using the table,
Hmm.
and that dude just goes fully splat. Awesome.
Hmm.
Absolutely awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. This movie also likes a good blade. There's lots of like
Yes.
knives and axes and all
Using a
sorts of things
hammer
that show
many
up.
a time. That
Yeah.
like uses a
Ice
mallet at one
pick,
point.
like,
Yes, yeah.
woo.
She is a blunt instrument, which is funny because
Mhm.
you would think that that John
Ballerina would be
Wick,
precise.
yeah, you would, but like John Wick's thing is pistols and precision, but he also
Hmm.
shoots people unnecessarily high numbers of times.
Yeah, their strategy with her combat was to be sort of opportunistic. Like
Hmm.
she uses the environment
Yes,
around
very,
her
very
to
much, and
her
they
best
set that up very
ability. Yeah.
early. You're right, yeah.
So it's cool. It's very Peggy Carter actually does the same thing. Whenever you watch Agent Carter from Captain America or her show fight, she's just picking up things and hitting people over the head with those things. And
Hmm.
obviously our ballerina here, oh my gosh, what's her name?
Eve.
Eve, there we go. All I could think of was the actress's name. But Eve, she does the same thing, but she also has like a ton of training
Hmm.
in weaponry, and then we see her use all that weaponry. So it's very interesting. Where like, yeah, sure, we could give her a bunch of guns, and she could just keep pulling out guns and shooting them, kind of like John Wick does, or she could value the opportunity to hit somebody over the head with a
Hmm.
plate
Hmm.
and all
The
that.
plates are
Use the
so
card.
funny, where they keep just
It's good.
shattering plates over their heads. Like that was, yeah, that was pretty good.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then the
Yeah.
flamethrower sequence in the end was
Yes.
also very fun.
I really enjoyed that. They managed to make something that should just be sort of like a point and shoot thing really
Hmm.
engaging. And
And then the hose, where she's
yeah,
combating it with water. Ugh, that
do
was
you
really
think that
awesome.
would work that way?
Yes, I've seen TikToks
I
of
think I
firemen doing that. I was gonna bet
really
money that that was practical.
okay. That's cool. I'm
I
just
could
like
be
at a
totally
certain like
wrong,
from a
but
distance. From a distance, I absolutely think it's possible because flamethrowers work off gas,
mhm.
right? And like water would redirect that. So I think that makes sense. They got really close to each other, and
that
that's when I was kind of like, I'm
that
not
may not have been
sure.
practical. But
Yeah.
I would have bet the wide shot, that looking down shot at first, I would bet money that was practical. I've seen like when they do that cone form for the water, like it does look like that. Like it looks like you've got a pocket
Mm,
of fire because the water's keeping it like within that.
mhm,
I've seen videos like that. So and these movies have been really good about stunts and like
mhm.
the long the long practical shots. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that practically.
That's cool. That's cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the fight is good. Oh, there was another slapstick comedy
I
reference in
saw
this one
that.
when
I
they're in the
did see that. Yeah,
hotel.
I was
Hmm.
gonna mention that because that's your thing there. The okay, so I
I
guess
really I consider them like siblings. They're not the same thing, but it's clearly the same
yeah,
kind of entertainment. You know, like
it's the
slapstick comedy
emo
is
cousin of
yeah,
slapstick, the edge
yeah,
lord version.
clearly has a family resemblance, but dyed his hair black. You
Yep.
know.
Mm-hmm. Well, really, you could say they're all grown up now. Like,
Mm.
Yeah,
I moved on from slap to guns.
yeah. No more pies. We got bombs. Yeah. But
But I don't
speaking
know. That's
of
fun.
that, I think the Prague Continental may be the
Mm.
coolest Continental. Like that Continental was
Hmm.
awesome. Oh, the
And I liked that
door.
it was heavily stylistic, but you could also like see everything in the scene, you
Yes.
know? Yeah,
Yes.
it
I
was
like
it was
that
cool.
detail of the fight happening within what's his name's Daniel Pine, Daryl Dixon's room,
Hmm.
where because of the firing against the bulletproof glass, it removes the visibility of the sniper because of the. That was such a good little touch. Like it's a blink and you
Hmm.
miss it kind of thing, where it's just oh shit, there's fighting happening. It's like no, it's oh shit, he can't see. Like that's good stuff.
Hmm.
I do
It
like
was
that.
also a really cool way to introduce the group, the cult people, the X people.
Yes,
They give us the name really late. It started with an H. I can't remember, Holstoff or
I.
something like that.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
can't remember.
mhm. But like it was inherently interesting for people to immediately catch, and for the audience to then immediately catch that somebody else is immediately catching that she's asking for the room right next to the guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then to like kind of hope that she'll do the task for them, watch it not go that way, and then there's sort of like this conflict of like, she's not really sure what's going on, but she also doesn't really isn't really sure she wants to kill this guy or fight this guy right now. So there's like this conflict and fight, three-way fight happening. I liked it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike the fact that, other than the fact that um, she does ultimately protect like the little girl Ellen. She doesn't actually bodyguard anybody after the girl in the club. Like she isn't keeping anyone safe. Anytime that she might be kind of responsible for keeping someone safe, she kind of fails.
Mm.
So Ellen is put in her charge and she's not able to keep her safe. She maybe you could say could have protected her sister, Lena, when they were in
Maybe.
that place together,
Yeah.
and she's not able to. So like there's like, and then she does the whole final fight on her own, so there's no one to protect. So like she's given only a few situations after the initial setup to prove that she can bodyguard people,
Mm-hmm.
where she's supposed to protect someone, and in those two situations he doesn't protect them. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, I feel like that writing wise is not great, especially if you are going to make this really cool foil about like how she's protecting. So like, and if you're a fight choreography movie, how does fight choreography work if she's trying to protect someone? And you
Mm-hmm.
only really see that in the training room because honestly, she doesn't do a great job of like being around the person she's supposed to protect in the club. So it just
Mm-hmm.
ends up being kind of like another example of somebody surrounded by bad guys taking down those bad guys rather than someone who is like keeping someone safe, you know?
Yeah.
And that it was a bit of a disappointment for me. I think it still ends up being a good story, and I think the foil still works, but it's not as strong as it could have been.
I see that for sure. I do wonder if this would have been better if it was placed legitimately between John Wick 3 and 4 or between John Wick 2 and 3 so that there's like a movie or like during 4 she is protecting him. Like that's how we get her little intro with this movie and then like their stories come together in 4 or something where like she gets to be the, Kikimora. Um
Hmm.
so yeah, I don't know. I like we said, I think I'm high on a new movie. Burnt out on John Wick. I don't know. Like right now, I'm feeling mostly positive, but I do think there's some not so much again bad things, just like potential to have been not only better in places but more relevant in the universe of John Wick.
Yeah, I would say the first John Wick movie is simple, but it is a peak version of what it's supposed to be. Like it
Mm-hmm.
probably reached its maximum potential in terms of storytelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other John Wicks fail to meet that standard to a large degree, but ultimately end up being kind of in the same category as you would expect that kind of story to be. A no thoughts, just vibes action fight movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? This one I feel like has the potential to be something kind of significant. Like it's starting a conversation about, when you kill, you have the choice to decide when that's going to happen. You don't have to kill everybody you come in contact with. You're not being like John Wick is constantly being told he has to go kill these guys. She gets to decide almost every time if she's going to kill the person she's fighting. And she chooses sometimes not to, and she chooses sometimes to kill. So, like, that's a really interesting thing to set up. You set up the parallels and the foils between protecting and killing. You set up this idea about restoring something or ending something to protect rather than just to get revenge, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of really cool themes and conversations that I think this film is doing with the background of the John Wick films, but it ultimately kind of fails to reach the promise of those conversations. And
Yeah.
that is, I don't know, like it's kind of like I see you growing and developing, and I like that you're doing that, but no,
Mm-hmm.
you haven't quite gotten there yet, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'm also
yeah, yeah.
I am torn on the whole cult thing because
Hmm.
I'm all for a badass ballerina Black Widow lady going out and basically taking down a cult because cults suck. But the concept of contract killers making a society where they can live is very interesting. Um, However, are these guys under the table? Because it's not made clear. The
It's
Continentals
kind
and
of,
the Ruska are almost scared of them, which says to
mhm.
me they're not under the table because they barely follow the rules, which is the whole thing. But as you kind of indicated, maybe with John Wick 3, because King isn't directly under the table, they send out an adjudicator to bring him under the table. But somehow these fuckers have been left alone for 200 years? I find that very hard to believe. But
The
if
200 years thing was kind of dumb just because that's older than, well, almost older than the United States, you know? Like that's a long history of
But like, let's look at where the
private
elder comes from.
networks.
You know, we see more continentals
Mm,
and the other parts of the world than we do the
mhm.
states. The states are the it's just a continuation of this. This is not a state's original thing.
Maybe just the certain modernity of all of it makes me
Because
doubt the ancientness of it,
well, they're
but that
also
doesn't
in
necessarily mean
Europe,
that it isn't
so
ancient.
who cares how old the
Yeah,
states
yeah,
are?
and things are in generally older than that. I just like when you think of a clan of elite super assassins,
Mm.
you don't necessarily think of, I don't know what, Germany in the mountains.
Maybe you do. I don't know.
Maybe you do. Maybe you
What?
do.
Think about the Japanese continental. Probably goes back to all kinds of creepy
Well,
secret samurai sumo
those
things.
guys had a tradition of like spy networks and whatnot. I
Mm.
don't know about the Germanic tribes at that time.
Who
Guess
knows?
that's not important.
Yeah.
Um, point is, I think the group, the cult, we'll call them, I think they're very intriguing, just in the sense that like when we arrived, and I was already kind of had an inkling of this, but when we arrived, I was like, this is either a refuge for people who want out of the life and can't get out any other way, or this is Nazis. And
Yeah.
it was kind of both.
Yeah.
Like
I
it was
yeah.
it was a place for people to set up a life, but the consequence was they all had to kind of stay in the life and dedicate their children to the life. So they weren't really out. They were just kind of like on pause and also got to have a family,
Mm,
you know? And I think what happens in terms of politics at the table for that is that the table, of course, would not like it. But it
mm.
seems like they probably amassed enough manpower by the time the table's taken notice they can't do anything about it. So the table like allows them access to the resources and they are technically under the table just to like keep everybody nice, but they also know that if they break the rules, there's not a lot of consequences
Yeah, I
because
don't.
they can't do much about it.
Again, I don't know. Just because of the way that the director talks about how they don't follow the rules, they seem to just have an agreement between the two of them. But and then also the
This is going
Continental.
to be way more real than it needs to be, but to me this is like US foreign policy.
I guess, but again, the table is not the U.S.
Yeah, but the table is like, you know, a governing force that has rules and expectations that then kind of establishes consequences sometimes. to certain things. And then there are parties within that are
Mm,
technically under that authority that just have so much power that it might be worth it to punish them every time they step out of line. Or at the
mm.
very least, trying to do so would destroy the other resources and power in the
Uh,
area, and it would just become
I thought
all the cults.
I thought it was an example again of just this is not a movie series in which the writing and continuity is considered.
That is also, I think, a part of it, but I think this power wise does kind of make sense. Like there's always a person who technically is under the authority of something, but because of their power are able to get away with things they shouldn't be able to get away with. That's just what this group is.
Which I can understand that's what they may be portraying, but it's difficult to believe that they could have the kind of manpower that would keep the table questionable about whether or not they want to interfere with something they may not like because they are lawless. And then seeing one ballerina bring them
Yeah.
to their knees, you know,
Mhm.
like to the point where they have
That's so
to
fair.
call John Wick in, like, and they illustrate real early, right away, 100%, that the only reason she lives is because John Wick lets her. He is better than
Yeah.
her at fighting.
Which
Like
is
it's
dumb.
so
Like
it's
it's dumb for multiple reasons. Like one, it calls into question the timeline. Two, thematically, it doesn't make sense for him to be there. We're trying to get her story, and
mm-hmm,
him being present at the climax of her story is just confusing.
mm-hmm,
Three, it adds in questions about like her ability or anything because they're not working together
mm-hmm,
really. It's just he's been sent to handle a problem she created, and he out of the goodness of his heart has allowed her to pursue that, given like a certain limit within that same power and thing. I think what they're trying to do in a lot of the ways with her in terms of like her ability to do things is kind of like she matches the cult because she's from the cult. Like
mm,
she's unstoppable, she's powerful, she like this sort of like fate element is not totally disproven. Yeah, she comes home, but she comes home to destroy it. So like an ironic fate thing. But she
mm-hmm,
still has this sort of like inherent killer ability because of her heritage, you know?
mm-hmm.
And I think that's a part of what's going on as well. If you're trying to look for logic, if you're not, it's really easy to be like, this is a John Wick film, and because it happens because it's cool, you know, which does explain why John Wick is there. Except for I think it undermines the coolness of our main character, and that
A little
is
bit.
not cool.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
totally agree.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like you started real strong and you got a really strong base, but then you decided to throw in it's a it's an oatmeal raisin cookie. Like I thought those were going to be
I
chocolate
love
chips.
no racing cookies.
Well, you're wrong. So you go to that oatmeal raisin cookie and you think they're chocolate chips, but they're not. They're raisins. Like,
You want
oh,
to hear a real story? I thought there was an oatmeal raisin cookie one time. I went over and I bet it was chocolate chip, and I was disappointed.
you are such a fucking square, man. Like, ew. That you were disappointed in a chocolate chip cookie. That is, our friendship's been affected by
Let me try to
that.
justify it.
You can't
Oatmeal raisin
justify
cookie.
that.
I can
No,
justify
you
it.
can't.
I can do it.
Uh,
Oatmeal raisin cookies are almost always like delightfully kind of like moist and like kind of soft cookies. I like that about cookies. Cookies that are cracker hard, they're like crumbly. Do not like those. Do
yeah,
not
no,
like those.
same. I don't like a
So
crunchy chocolate chip cookie. That's why you gotta make it with a little too much butter, and you get those nice, soft
yeah,
chocolate chip
well,
cookies.
I thought I was gonna get like a soft oatmeal cookie, and instead I got a crunchy, stale
Ugh.
chocolate chip cookie.
Okay. Well, you could be disappointed in that chocolate chip cookie, I suppose. The way you worded it, though, is problematic. Anyway.
It's an experience that I have had, and it's literally the opposite of everyone else's experience with
Uh
oatmeal
huh.
raisin cookies. So I just think it's really funny.
Okay. Fine. Some cookies. Anyway.
Back to the point.
But back to the point. Let me think here, because we've kind of jumped all over the place as we do,
Hmm.
and we've hit a
Hmm.
lot of the positives and the negatives. Personally, I don't think the sister thing needed to come back. found it really hard to care about that. Because
I
she
wanted
dies, you
them to
know.
fight together, and we didn't even get to see them fight
See,
together.
there was
Why
no
include
way.
her if they're
Yeah,
not gonna
exactly.
fight?
There was exactly. See, there was no way they were gonna
Mhm.
fight together because that sister's too far gone. She's lived in this cult for
Mhm.
15 years. There's no way you're gonna save her. I
Mhm.
honestly thought it was interesting that she killed a cult member to protect her sister. Um.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, there's that, and then I do think I think I had started this point, and then I got lost on a tangent. I don't think we see enough of what the cult is supposed to be doing that's bad. And because I get like while watching it, I get more caught up in why the table doesn't care about them. But I would like to see what it is they do. Because if you go, we're going off of if you want to go into the court of law um, rules. The cult is bad purely through hearsay and the fact that they're maybe abducting a child. However, we don't know Daryl Dixon from anywhere. He could be an absolute loon. We have no idea. Um, so we spend the first part of the movie watching the Ruska Roma basically abuse these children into protecting assassin people by destroying their feet and beating them up and punishing them and kicking them out if they don't have the killer instinct. And then we go to this
But like,
lovely little town and
sorry.
then kill everybody in this lovely little town because we're told that what they do is bad. I'm just saying, from a narrative point of view, we should have seen more of why they're the issue. Because what we're shown
I agree.
is the Red Room going up against the village. And yeah, the village in the village is dumb. They're doing weird shit, but like from in their little pocket, they're not hurting anybody. Whereas the Red Room is out there killing people. So like we need a little bit more, I think.
To me, this was a combination of like they weren't very obvious about it, although I do think that they put their reasons in the movie. The first one is that it's a personal mission for her, so it's really not
Yeah.
about the ethics of the cult. The second thing is the reason it's personal is because people have tried to leave the cult, and the cult has killed in order to bring them back. Like
Mm-hmm.
she watched the like we now have two fathers who are trying to save their daughters from this
Mm-hmm.
cult, and
Mm-hmm.
that is enough for the cult to come after them, kill them, and kidnap their daughters and bring them back to the cult, right? Um, and that's not great. But it's also like not something crazy in this world that we've been watching so far. The big thing that they do make a point about in the Rusko Roma is the opportunity to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, the life is tough, bleeding, toenails, all that. Technically, none of those things. Well, okay, the killing part is, gang activity, but the actual like physical toughness, none of that is actually that different from what you could voluntarily put yourself through in any other different situation. Ballerinas lose their toenails a fair amount. Um, like, people who are into mixed martial arts tend to get beat up quite a bit because of the activities they're participating in. Put any of these people in the military, they'll have similar experiences with physical exhaustion and effort and all that. Um, but at this place, the Rescaroma,
Mm-hmm.
the door is open. They can leave. Even when they fail, I don't think they don't kill her. She gets to be a
Well,
person who just lives.
yeah, but there is that weird moment where a different Roma, Ruska Roma, is the test. Like that never comes
Hmm.
back, which I think is really interesting.
That is interesting.
The
That is
the,
interesting.
the ballerina from 10 years in the future. Like
Hmm.
I'm just saying because I understand. I'm putting more thought into this than these movies encourage. I understand. We have switched roles this week, I think, in that
Yeah.
because there's more story, there's a little more substance, and it's a different kind of mission. You're a little more invested, and because I like the world building at this point, because we're 5 movies in, I don't like that we're no longer thinking about it. Because if you're gonna talk about a cult in this world, especially after watching John Wick 4, Ruska Roma is way more cultish. You burn the side of your arm when you want to try to get back into it. You got all these weird
Well,
rituals and things they do. We don't see anything that this cult people do. We are only told.
so y- kind of. The clues are there. not only do they kill two people to keep everyone in the group, keep kids in the group,
Mm-hmm.
they also train their kids to kill, like from a young age, it seems. I don't know exactly when, like it kind of looks like she is not forced to kill anybody until graduation day. These kids have target ranges on their playground. They have diagrams in their classroom about where to shoot someone in the head to kill them. Like there, I was looking at the environment mostly because I was like, this is the classroom, why is that diagram there? Why are there guns? And so like there's a very heavy background element that would have been made more explicit, I think. There where the kids are kind of like the currency of this
Mm-hmm.
society. The kids do not have a choice to leave and they will become killers. And her whole
Mm-hmm.
thing is her ability to choose. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the idea of it being a cult is maybe a bad word choice for the script because you are right in terms of appearance. The Ruska Roma have way more of like a cult vibe going on with all their traditions and symbols and whatnot. You know, the kneeling at prayer, watching someone get tattooed as they become a killer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's very cultish.
Mm-hmm.
But the ability to leave was always an option. Whereas with these guys,
I
the whole staff or whatever, there
I
is no option to leave. They have to be a part of this and they have to obey every command.
I see what you mean. I guess I had not considered again that we see it in the classroom and stuff. I guess part of me, for some reason, just assumed that wasn't that uncommon in this world because of
Mm-hmm.
the what we've already
Mm-hmm.
seen of the Romaruska. Because it wasn't made clear
Mm-hmm.
until this movie that it's a choice for one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
and then like I mean the Continental in Japan, his concierge is his daughter. Like this idea of
Mm-hmm.
having to protect or hide or bring kids into the fold hasn't really seemed completely unheard of so far. So I guess that didn't click right away that they are training them from such an early age and that like I know they say that, but that didn't
Mm-hmm.
strike me as the weird thing. Like I especially because of the comparison to the Red Room and the Widows with the ballerinas and the Ruska Roma, like they look like they're doing the same shit, from a very early age. So
Yeah. I think
I
it
was in
definitely could have been more obvious,
yeah.
but I do think that the logic is there. It's just, it's like,
Mm,
it's kind of thin, right? Like they're both training killers. The main difference is the trainees have the right to leave with the
mm.
Roma and
Is
I
it
get that backwards
Ruskaruma?
every time. The Ruska Roma,
Yeah.
and they do not have the option with the cult, and that's kind of what the whole movie rotates around, like that choice element,
Mm.
um, which I thought was cool, and I like it. But they could have made it a little easier to see those guys as a villain, honestly.
Yeah, because I was waiting for the other shoe to drop as far as like the cult thing goes.
Hmm.
Because yeah, we see two people running away, but they're also doing a thing we've already seen two characters do, and the response is not new. Like Halle Berry's character
I
is
agree.
hidden. There's a whole fucking blood pact to keep that kid hidden.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Kane. That's his whole thing is to keep his kids safe. Like
Hmm.
this isn't new shit. So I was waiting
That's
for
a good point. That's a good point.
yeah, I was waiting for the cult thing to be they're all his kids. Like he
Hmm.
has a thing with all the women of this community because that's the other thing about this kid, Daryl's kid, sorry, Pine's kid, is that it's his granddaughter. So that's not real
Hmm.
culty. He wants his granddaughter back because he's a possessive crime lord motherfucker. Like it's just, and I was waiting for that other shooter drop where it's like, oh, it's my granddaughter because you're all my children, whether that was metaphorical or not. Because he's the head of
Hmm.
the snake, he's the head of the cult. We don't
Hmm.
really get that. Like we're just
Yeah.
this cult or this weird tribe, this tribeless tribe, it's missing some teeth that I think it could
Hmm.
use. That's like a
Hmm.
passing critique because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. She's killing everybody, but
Hmm.
anyone that makes Winston pause, you know, I feel like
Hmm.
needs to have some teeth, and I'm not really seeing
Hmm.
the teeth here. That's all I'm saying. That's
The
all I'm
main thing that
saying.
they have is that the table will not necessarily enforce the rules on them.
Mm.
That's the main threat that they really offer. That and like the fact that they're basically elite from birth killers, right?
But see, that's
Um,
the other part. Because they may not operate under the table, we don't know why they kill. They kill for sport, they
yeah,
say, but like within what? Do they have hunting
yeah.
parties? Do they have targets? Like what is it that
Hmm.
what's the rules? What's the
The
dogma? What's the doctrine? Not a clue.
the only time we see them hunting is when they're chasing down someone who's left the tribe. And the only other time we see them target and attack on somebody, seemingly it's kind of random. Like he
Mm-hmm.
just the car that hits her in like that beginning, and she cuts his arm off.
I see.
You
I
know,
forgot about
that
that. Yeah, I forgot about that because they don't even know who she is. They weren't even after her. I completely
yeah,
forgot about that detail. Like,
yeah,
what the hell is he even doing there?
yeah.
Not a clue.
I think that was supposed to be like he's hunting for fun and
Oh.
did not pick the right target.
Mm,
But that's where I was going with it. So like
mm,
we see two operations which are essentially for the same thing, somebody's run away, and one instance of maybe hunting for fun. And that's all we really see about their daily operations. And
mm,
technically, even like going and retrieving people are probably not so much a daily operation as this occasional occurrence. So you're right. We actually have no idea about what their motivations are other than to be a bunch of dangerous assassins up in the mountains.
mm,
Um, some clarity on these guys would be good. Maybe getting their name before we're like 30 minutes into being in their setting would be
mm,
good too.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it would help. It would help.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not to say that we get like all the rules for the other factions of this world, but I do think it's made a little more clear what the, I guess, goals are, the intentions,
Hmm.
the mission, if you will. I don't know. That was a lot, but I do yeah, that the more I think about that, the more that's gonna probably bug me just a tad, but like it doesn't
I do
ruin the
think the
movie.
movie sort of decreases in quality as it goes on because I think it starts pretty good. It meanders a little bit maybe in the beginning, but I kind of like the time we take to establish character and watch her do her thing a
Sure.
little bit before we get to
Yeah.
the focus.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time we get to the village in the mountains, the story stops caring about the details. And the biggest examples of this are the fact that Lena shows up for half a second, does one thing that's useful, and then dies immediately. Um, then John Wick shows up, does one thing that's useful, goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And when she does win, from what I could tell, maybe I missed something. From what I could tell, they just choose to stop the car and confront her there rather than driving away, which they totally could have done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he gets out of the armored vehicle
I
to
know.
talk to her. And she does a cool thing where she's like, "You're monologuing," and just shoots him.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of getting in the car to drive away from the village full of assassins, because she's not killed all of them, um, she gets the kid she's trying to protect out of the vehicle, and they walk unprotected through the village and supposedly into the wintry mountains without a vehicle.
Yeah, not sure. It's a good question. And
Like at the end, it gets very John Wick. Let's just do the cool thing,
mm-hmm.
and it kind of throws out the logic that I feel like it had been using for most of the film,
Mm-hmm.
which is disappointing.
A tad for sure. Also, what are the rules in the Continental about killing people if they attack you first? That's still doing business on Continental grounds? Because Daryl
I think
Dixon is being
the
taken care of in the Continental, what seems to be recompense for what happened, but he killed people on Continental grounds. Multiple people. Blew
mhm.
them to pieces with that awesome shotgun of his. So what are
I
we
think maybe because
doing?
he was the one attacked, they're fine with it. She was just kind of there and joined the fight, so the fact that she didn't kill anybody maybe is significant. It also might just be like that guy. doesn't maybe know exactly what happened, but she was able to say with a fair amount of confidence, I didn't kill anybody. And nobody else said, oh, yeah, me too. I didn't kill anybody either. So, like, if you're making a snap call judgment there, maybe it was sort of like, you didn't kill anybody. I don't like that you're here, but fine. I have bigger problems to deal with. And it seems like maybe you were not the one at fault. So just get
Mm,
out of here. You know, sort of like that discretionary thing.
mm. I was surprised how many of them got up to go kill that guy while
Hmm.
in a Continental. Like, damn. Like, damn.
I think that's a part of it, like the numbers game. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
just so like every single member of this group is a crazy deadly person who has like will totally go against the rules, right? So I mean it was a lot of people, but that was kind of point to show you
Which
how little they care about the rules.
totally get again, but I do find it interesting and questionable that this group is so vicious and so
Hmm.
cavalier that the rules don't matter to them, that they will do business on continental grounds where other people are scared to do so, and the continental is still willing to accept them. Like, I think it would be problematic to allow this group to join you, putting the idea of the safety of your establishment at risk because they don't care about the rules. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what the benefit is of keeping them there if they're going to risk the security of the Continental. Because then
I
people
think
don't
the
stay at the
idea is that
Continental.
I think the idea is that it only happens very occasionally and they're able to clean up relatively quickly afterwards. It's not like it's a full-on attack on the Continental. It's a targeted strike on whatever is in the Continental.
Mm,
And like obviously it's a threat to the Continental, but like the Continental like mode of operation. But he does address this. He's like, if we decided to refuse them service, we would start a war with them. And
mm,
that is gonna be bad. So we offer them service and we try to keep them following the rules. And sometimes they don't, and that's not great. I mean, like they do execute the two people that they catch, right? So it's not
mm.
like there's completely no consequences for it. It's just that there's definitely more problem and more bloodshed by keeping them out than by allowing them in, understanding that they will not always respect the rules.
Fair enough, I suppose. Again,
Hmm.
I'd like to see why they're such the shit, you know? Because I don't think their numbers are considerable enough for. Because like not all of them are gonna wind up at a Continental, you know what I mean? Like if two of them show up,
Mm-mm.
and the idea is like, oh wow, okay, let's keep it clean, guys. You go ahead, you're fine. If one or two of them shows up and they're like, no, we don't accept you guys because you guys are crazy, and they're like, oh, we're gonna blow the place up. It's like we've got a fucking vault of weapons in our basement, and who knows who else on the staff. And if you're in Japan, full blown ninjas, you ain't gonna do shit. So kindly go to Motel 6. Like, I think this movie does attempt to create a consistent, interesting villain that is supposed to be, I think, a step up from the others, but like they don't justify it. And what you said has made me think like it'd be interesting to see the fruit of their labor and the choice of the Kikimora come into play when she's fighting the citizens of the village and she has to fight the kids. And she has to make
Hmm.
the choice not to kill any, like to show that kind of fight. We haven't seen John Wick really have to do that yet, where he has to specifically make
Hmm.
sure not to harm the people he's fighting. Like so there's some interesting things you could
Hmm.
have done.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. They should have done more about the training the kids thing and all that. Like, I don't think they should put like an 8-year-old combat necessarily, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to
have
go
an
too far,
army,
but
have an army of maybe even middle schoolers that, are like standing their ground at some part because that's their job when there's an outsider in
sure.
town and she has to find some way to get around that obstacle without killing
Yeah,
any of them
she's
because
gotta
she
she's
sees
gotta
in them
bob and
what
weave
she
and
would have
dodge and
been.
hide. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And then that she can also break
Hmm.
out the hose then, and she just
Hmm.
she like doesn't kill any of them, just knocks them back. It's got something like that.
Hmm.
Something
Yeah,
along those
there's
lines.
something they could have done there for sure.
Do you get the strong vibe we're getting a sequel, or are we just kind of perpetuating
Yes.
the pattern that is
Well,
this world?
I suspect they left several things open for a sequel,
Hmm.
but I do not know if they will follow through.
I hope they
Just
call it
because
something different, especially after he's dead. Like, you don't have to call it the universe of John Wick now.
it kind of felt like they did at the end, like a setup for her version of John Wick's story, which is that she's done something crazy that breaks the rules, and now she's going to have to deal with the consequences of that, and she's going to have to this like this massive domino effect thing that John Wick had to deal with because of his actions in the first film. It
Hmm.
kind of feels like they're doing that for her at the end of this one. Um, if that's the case though, they could have done more in terms of leaving story open to explore. Like, why not have Lena escape and then have her come back later? You
Hmm.
know, like there's just a lot of uh, kind of waste in this story. Things that are cool that don't fully develop, or things that could have been really cool and ultimately are kind of wasted.
Yeah. Apparently, nothing is confirmed as of right now whether or not we'll get a sequel. So up in the air.
People didn't like it, if I remember correctly.
Really? It had a 75 on
At
Rotten
least it
Tomatoes.
didn't get received well in theaters, I think is kind of what I'm
Oh, is
thinking.
that so? Let me see what the audience score was. 92 audience score. So my goodness, I wonder what the issue was.
That's good. How much did it make at the box
Um,
office?
on a budget of 90 million, it
Oh,
made
that's why. 58 million.
this is box office 137 million, which still isn't everything
Hmm.
it needs to be because you have to
Worldwide total. I'm looking at the US
uh
and Canada. Yeah.
okay.
So let's see, projected to gross
I see the
30
58. There you
million
go. Hmm.
opening weekend, and it actually got 24 million below
Mm.
projections. Finished after Lilo and Stitch.
I saw that. Yeah.
Um,
That's a
and then it fell
shame.
behind Mission Impossible, The Materialists, and the live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Mm. It's always a bummer
So it kind of
when
got drowned out in the
critically
theaters.
it's really really good. 'Cause, I mean, I would watch another one.
Watch those reelies. It's good, but it's not like really, really good.
Well, at the moment I enjoyed it enough that I'm gonna give it a whale. Looking back, I honestly don't know if I
Mhm.
gave the other ones a whale. So real quick, John Wick 1 is a whale. John Wick 2 is a whale. John Wick 3 is not a whale. John Wick 4. I really like Kane. John Wick 4 is a whale. Ballerina is a whale. They vary in whale severity. But 3 is definitely not a whale. You didn't give a whale to any of them, I bet,
I
except maybe this one.
That's my instincts. Although I will say, looking back, I think I have more appreciation for the first one because I didn't realize how much more mind numbing it could kind of get.
Wow. Mine.
I know that's really mean. That's really
So
mean. And
aggressive.
it's not like it's like that it's not like there's no thought that goes into these. I see the art and the intentionality. I just the story is so weak. It's so weak for most of these.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I do like I get attached and I get interested to the character in this one. I
Mm-hmm.
think the fight sequences are really unique and interesting. I am disappointed that the movie kind of falls apart at the end, but I absolutely would watch it again. So I'm gonna go whale for this one.
Okay. So whale, not whale, not whale, not whale, whale.
Yes, put like a little retroactive hat on that first whale.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, I am glad we did this one. As we kind of said, it's nice. It's different. It was fun. It's a good one to have under the
mhm.
belt
Mhm.
because it's a
Mhm.
modern popular series. So I'm ready for the next one
It was
though.
fun to talk about for sure.
For
Like
sure.
just
For
kind of
sure.
delving into writing and
Yeah.
all the effort that goes into making a film like
I
this.
I
It was interesting.
am I am good for a while though on the shoot 'em up, kill 'em up ones. I want to watch the Jason Bournes eventually because I think those are considerably better in some ways. Not right now.
Okay.
Not right now. I'm good.
Yeah.
I want
I'm
no.
good.
What we have planned next, I think is good. A nice change of pace yet again. So I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. It
Yeah.
should be nice. I will warn you,
Mm-hmm.
um, Red Dawn is a little shoot 'em up.
Is
Not a
that the
lot, and it feels very different.
is
It
that the
feels very
first one?
different.
Is that the first one for next week?
Second
Or
one.
this, okay. What's first?
First is Goonies.
Okay, that's good. A little palate cleanser there in between.
Yeah.
Then we get back
Uh-huh.
into it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, that's us. Bye,
Oh,
everybody.
wait,
Oh wait,
no, I got it
wait, wait.
backwards. E.T. is first,
E.T. is
and
first.
then Breaking Dawn, or
Okay.
Red Dawn, and then Breakfast Club, and then Goonies.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's a little sneak peek. We're doing the 80s next.
Sneak
That's our
peek.
next big marathon.
Woo.
80s movies. Woohoo!